Welcome. This is a short video on how to use Hermes, a SNOMED CT terminology server, library and command line tool as an MCP server. So this is really helpful when you're working with an LLM, you want to explore SNOMED CT or put a harness around an LLM and make sure it is doing the right thing. And I've found an MCP server to work really well for that. You can kind of ask it to check, you can write a harness around an LLM when you're driving it programmatically to check the results and then push it back and ask it to make sure that it's looked up all the concepts. LLMs are very prone to confabulation actually, so it looks really plausible, but when you actually check the concept IDs it's used just made up, and so it gives it a ground truth for which to use. So Claude, I'm using Claude, has a relatively nice way of adding MCP servers now, so I haven't got any active Claude servers at the moment. In a previous video you'll have seen how to install the Hermes command line tool, and in a previous video you'll have seen that how to build a database or two from a SNOMED distribution, or 2 or 3. So we've got all the bits and pieces that we need. So all we need to do is tell Claude how to add a server. We'll call it Hermes. There were some other options, but we don't need those. The defaults are absolutely fine here. And then we tell it to run by going Hermes. We'll give it the file Hermes data. This is the file we just created in a previous video. And you just run it with MCP. So what will happen there is it said it's added an MCP server, and then it's happy. So what I'm going to do now is open another window over here, and it's called Glow, isn't it? So doc MCP. So this is available on if you just go to the GitHub repository for Hermes. It gives you some instructions on how to do that, which I've just done. And so it exposes 29 MCP tools, which, because there are instructions for the LLM, it can kind of find them out and understand what to do. And there were some instructions about what it needs to do. So here we go. So we can just use some of these examples. So I'm going to start up Claude. We can see what's active, so you can see that Hermes has been started and it's ready for use. Let's just ask Claude what it thinks, and so it will, rather than trying to remember from its training, it will actually use the tool that we've now plugged into it and give us an answer that's been grounded in the truth of SNOMED CT. So here we go. So that's really helpful. So let's try this. So if you want to build a value set, but you don't really know how to use SNOMED CT, so what it's doing here is building a SNOMED ECL expression. So this is a simple text string here, but if you pass this to any terminology server, including Hermes, it can expand that into a code list. And so that's worked really well. But of course, you can do much more than that. So based on this, can you tell me the anatomical sites affected in Crohn's disease? We'll see what it manages to do here. So we've got, it's searching for Crohn's disease, it's looking for the finding sites, and it's pulled those out. That's really interesting. And so I guess we can try, so let's say ulcerative colitis instead. And see whether it does the same thing. So again, it's now looking for ulcerative colitis, looking for finding sites of concepts. Well, that's great. And so let's try see whether it can do post coordination for us. So the important thing here with post coordinated concepts is that there is a domain model inside of SNOMED which gives you the rules. So for example, actually you're not really allowed to lateralize fractured neck of femur. You are allowed to lateralize the anatomical site of neck of femur, and so what will be interesting is whether it can do that. And actually, it has it's lateralized the so it's got fractured neck of femur and it's got finding site structured neck of femur, and so I mean I guess we can do some clever things. So is the expression subsumed by so that's a complex one. So we've refined this, so what it should be true clearly, but what it's doing now is asking Hermes to do subsumption on compositional grammar expressions. So so that's worked. So let me know how you get on. Thanks for watching.